Most men already know personality matters with women. You've heard that your whole life. But here's the problem. A lot of men think having a good personality automatically means women will naturally feel attracted to them. And then they get confused when that doesn't happen the way they expected. Because attraction is deeper than simply being nice. Women pay attention to how a man feels emotionally when they are around him. The way he handles pressure, conversations, awkward moments, confidence, emotional energy, and connection all quietly shape attraction underneath the surface. And honestly, many men are not unattractive at all. They just unknowingly communicate nervousness, emotional instability, insecurity, or neediness during interactions without realizing it. Welcome back. I'm Magda today, and we're breaking down 8 personality traits that quietly make women feel emotionally drawn towards certain men naturally, and why these qualities create attraction much faster than most men realize. Before we get into the first trait, I want to know where you're watching from today. Drop your city or country in the comments because I always enjoy seeing how many different places these conversations reach. Now, the first personality trait women are deeply attracted to is groundedness. And honestly, this trait is way more powerful than most men realize because it shows up during small moments. Maybe the conversation gets awkward for a second or something doesn't go perfectly. And most men instantly become nervous, overly apologetic, or start trying too hard to recover the interaction. But grounded men stay calm. They don't emotionally fall apart because of one awkward moment. Women notice this immediately because emotional steadiness makes a man feel safe, mature, and confident. A man who can stay relaxed under pressure naturally feels more attractive than a man constantly reacting emotionally to every little thing. The second trait women quietly pay attention to is genuine curiosity. And honestly, this is where many men accidentally ruin conversations without realizing it. A lot of men hear a woman talk about something and immediately turn the conversation back toward themselves because they want to impress her or show they can relate. But emotionally, women notice when a man is truly curious about them versus when he is just waiting for his turn to talk again. And there's a huge difference. A genuinely curious man asks deeper questions. If a woman mentions she recently started painting again or traveling more, he doesn't just say, "Oh, nice." He naturally wants to know why, what changed, what made her interested in that again. That kind of curiosity makes women feel emotionally seen instead of emotionally processed. And honestly, women become much more attracted to men who make conversations feel emotionally engaging instead of feeling like interviews or performances. A man who knows how to listen properly, ask thoughtful questions, and stay emotionally present during conversations immediately feels more attractive because he creates connection instead of just trying to impress her constantly. The third trait women are strongly attracted to is emotional warmth without desperation. And honestly, this is where many men struggle after breakups, divorce, or long periods of loneliness. They meet a woman they like and immediately start moving emotionally too fast because they are hungry for connection again. Women feel that pressure instantly. A man starts over-texting, becoming overly available, complimenting too heavily too early, or emotionally attaching before the connection has naturally developed. And even if the woman likes him, the interaction starts feeling emotionally heavy instead of exciting. But warm, confident men move differently. They show interest without rushing. They enjoy getting to know a woman without acting like every interaction decides their happiness. And that emotional patience feels extremely attractive psychologically because it shows self-respect and emotional control. Women usually feel safer around men who allow attraction to develop naturally, instead of forcing emotional intensity immediately. And honestly, a man who can stay warm, calm, and emotionally balanced without chasing validation constantly almost always stands out more than the man trying too hard to impress every woman he meets. The fourth trait women are naturally drawn to is a man having clear values and actually living by them. And honestly, this is something women pick up on much faster than men think. A man does not have to constantly announce his standards or talk about being a real man for women to notice his values. They notice it through behavior, the way he talks about people, the way he handles conflict, the way he keeps his word, the way he responds when something goes wrong. Women pay attention to consistency because consistency creates creates trust emotionally. A man who says one thing but behaves differently instantly feels emotionally unreliable, no matter how attractive he looks physically. And honestly, emotionally intelligent women are not just looking for excitement, they are also looking for emotional stability underneath the attraction. A man with strong values feels more real, more grounded, and more trustworthy because his personality feels stable instead of constantly shifting depending on who he is around. That quiet consistency becomes extremely attractive over time because women feel like they are interacting with someone genuine instead of someone performing for approval or attention constantly. The fifth trait women become emotionally attached to is emotional confidence. And no, this is not the loud alpha male behavior social media keeps pushing all the time. Emotional confidence is much quieter than that. It's a man being comfortable with himself without constantly needing reassurance from everyone around him. Women notice this very quickly. A confident man doesn't panic if a woman takes longer to reply. He doesn't become emotionally unstable because one interaction feels uncertain. He doesn't need to prove himself every 5 minutes during conversations. And honestly, that calm energy feels attractive because it creates emotional stability around him. A lot of men think confidence is about acting dominant, but most women respond much more strongly to emotional calmness. The man who can stay relaxed, joke naturally, handle awkward moments, and still remain himself without trying too hard usually creates much stronger attraction because emotionally insecure men often make. Women feel pressure to constantly reassure them, but emotionally confident men create space for attraction to grow naturally. Women feel like they can relax around them instead of constantly managing their emotions or ego during every interaction. The sixth trait women quietly fall for is presence. And honestly, this one is becoming rarer and rarer today because most people are distracted constantly. A lot of men are physically sitting with a woman while mentally being somewhere else completely, checking their phone, scanning the room, thinking about what to say next, trying too hard to impress. Women feel that disconnect immediately, but a present man feels different emotionally. When she talks, he actually listens. He notices small details. He responds naturally instead of mechanically waiting for his turn to speak again. And that level of attention makes women feel emotionally important instead of emotionally ignored. And honestly, this creates attraction much faster than most men realize because women are not only reacting to words, they are reacting to emotional experience. A woman remembers how a man made her feel during interaction. A present man makes her feel heard, noticed, relaxed, and emotionally connected. That's why emotionally distracted men often struggle with attraction without understanding why. Women usually become more drawn toward men who make them feel fully seen in the moment instead of feeling like just another conversation. The seventh trait women are deeply attracted to is emotional maturity. And honestly, this becomes more important the older women get and the more relationship experience they have. A lot of women become exhausted from dealing with emotionally reactive men who turn every disagreement into drama, shut down emotionally, or become defensive over small things. Emotionally mature men handle things differently. They know how to communicate without attacking. They know how to stay calm during tension. They know how to listen without immediately trying to win every conversation. And women notice that immediately because emotional maturity creates emotional safety. A woman should not feel like she has to constantly walk on eggshells around a man just to avoid emotional reactions. Mature men create stability because they know how to regulate themselves emotionally instead of making every uncomfortable moment feel chaotic. And honestly, this trait quietly separates men who women casually date from men women actually see long-term relationship potential in. Because attraction might bring a woman closer initially, but emotional maturity is often what makes her feel safe enough to stay emotionally invested over time. The eighth trait women become emotionally drawn to is authenticity. And honestly, this is where a lot of men lose themselves while dating. They try too hard to say the perfect thing, act cooler than they are, hide their personality, or perform confidence instead of simply being comfortable in their own skin. Women feel that performance eventually because real authenticity has a different energy to it. A genuine man does not agree with everything just to be liked. He has his own opinions, humor, interests, and personality without trying to shape himself into whatever he thinks women want. And ironically, that's what usually makes him more attractive. Women are naturally more drawn to men who feel real emotionally instead of overly polished or rehearsed. A man who can laugh naturally, admit small imperfections, and still stay comfortable with himself often creates stronger attraction than a man trying too hard to maintain a perfect image constantly. And honestly, authenticity creates emotional trust because women feel like they're interacting with the actual person instead of a carefully managed version designed only to impress them. Most women don't get emotionally attached to men because of one perfect text message, one expensive date, or one smooth line. Attraction usually builds from emotional experience over time. The way a man handles pressure, the way he carries himself during awkward moments, the way conversations feel around him. All of those things quietly shape attraction underneath the surface. That's why personality matters so much more than many men realize. A grounded man feels different. A calm man feels different. A man who listens properly, stays emotionally confident, and feels comfortable with himself creates a completely different emotional reaction in women compared to a man constantly trying too hard to impress. And the interesting part is that most of these traits are not fake game. They are qualities that naturally grow when a man becomes more emotionally aware, more mature, and more secure within himself. Women feel authenticity, they feel emotional stability, they feel presence, and they remember how a man made them feel emotionally long after the interaction ends. Now, I want you to be honest in the comments. Which one of these personality traits do you think women secretly value the most in men today? And if you enjoy these conversations about female psychology, attraction, and relationships, subscribe and join the community because the next videos are going even deeper into modern dating psychology and emotional attraction. Thanks for watching.